enough you could hear the doorknob twist and click. That was all that happened, though. You'd figure someone would come in. You checked behind you. The door was open a crack, and a person peeked through. From the teeny bit you could see, the person was a kid, or maybe a short grown-up. They were only half as tall as the door they were hiding behind. Definitely wasn't your Charlene coming to get you. Miss Murray was still flipping through a million papers, but she called out from her desk. It's okay, you can come in. Class is over. Is this her kid? This is her jit, isn't it? Then the door got shoved all the way open and bumped into the wall. After trying not to get noticed, being called out that way made whoever it was confident. Ugh, look at this fit. It's kind of hard. Okay. What anime character is this? They stood in the doorway and put their hands on their hips. The hair on their head was a helmet of sunshine, orange, shiny, and flaming out in rays everywhere. The person walked right in without looking at what they were seeing. It wasn't the way you or Tamrat came into class. It was the way QUI had. The way someone who had been there before had. This wasn't their classroom. None of the students you saw the whole day were this person. In a new school, in a whole new town, you would have been more amazed it was somebody you didn't know. You did know. Even though that was true, you almost thought you had to meet the stranger. The kid's soft brown eyes itched at your brain. You were sure you'd seen those exact kind of eyes somewhere. Especially hard to figure out when their gaze wasn't aimed at you. It gone to the front where the teacher was. Oh, you remembered. Seeing a new kid and Miss Murray made you think of the matching card game you had to play in school when you were little. You just won by flipping over the 4 identical chestnuts. The person with eyes like Miss Murray ran to her past the counting carpet and began the desk. They threw their arms around her legs in a hug, squeezing her knee together. Your teacher gently brushed those sunbeam strands until the kid tilted their head back to a smile up to Miss Murray with a toothy grin. Hi. Hello, sir, 7th grade. He old. Did you have a good first day? Darren! Sir, 7th grade, or Darren, or both, gasped and let go before smiling even wider. Chiu! He darted out from the desk just like that. Miss Murray watched him go, rubbing at the spots of her pants that got squished. She was for sure his mom, not only because they hugged or because of their eyes. Miss Murray wouldn't have let a normal student get away with not answering her question. And you were right. My mom is your teacher? Damn, look how tall this kid is. Then again, he is older. He is older, obviously. We're in what, 4th grade? He's in 7th? Yeah, he's like 3 years older than us. So he's like 13, 14-ish. Darren's voice came out bright and loud and with a big laugh, though. Big laugh. Though the sound was kind of crackling too, he had so much to express to the world, words could barely keep it all together. Chiu's own sparkling giggles joined in. He opened his arms all the way out, not holding anything back. I know. When Darren crossed the room, he stuck his own hand straight ahead, palm up. Chiu flipped his arm down and over to land a low 5 smack. It was a powerful hit, but they were both protected by gloves. Chiu struggled again, not feeling the sting. This year's gonna be tough. Boys, inside voices, please. And personally, I'd say my lessons are fair. Right? Yeah. Sorry, Miss Murray. Sorry, Mom. Darren lifted his fuzzy black earmuffs up off his head, using hands covered in fuzzy black gloves. He was in this classroom to stay, and he'd be able to hear quieter words better without that too. First time Darren noticed there were 2 more people in the room. That made his smile flatten. You expected you would see new kids today. Darren didn't think about that. He tried to figure out what to do or think or feel now that it had happened. Tamara skipped saying who she was so she could jump right into Darren's face on her tiptoes. As far as kids went, Darren was as tall as Tamarack was short. Mom? You said she's your mom? A teacher is your mom? It didn't matter that Chiu talked about Miss Murray having kids before you got there or that a lot happened to show that Darren was definitely her son. Oh, my bad. Having the kid of a teacher in front of her was too unbelievable for Tamarack. And that made Darren decide what to think about this meeting. He didn't like it at all. What the freak? You got a problem, Darren? His face soured and he backed away from Tamarack without thinking, like a giant fluffy bumblebee was coming to get him. Tamarack didn't let him get far from her. It's funny to watch. You were uneasy. This wasn't good. I do find it funny to watch. Question. Darren had to be shy. Tamarack shouldn't force him. It was funny to watch. Maybe Darren would keep reversing and Tamarack would keep following until they got all the way out the door. Don't follow Darren like that. She was totally serious about the idea. It wasn't a rule, it was a law. Tamarack listened to it better than if it came from an actual teacher. Oh. Tamarack deflated to stand like normal again and stopped scurrying towards Darren. He still didn't stop staring at her. Darren was too afraid of what she might do next to look away. The whole thing made Chiu sigh. It was an accident though, because he sucked another breath super fast after. Then he smiled again like it never happened. Oh, hey everybody. Oh, hey, everybody's got to meet each other for real now. We do? Yeah, we do. He used his own tiptoes and smoothly twirled around to shift from Tamarack's side to Darren's. This is Mr. Darren Murray. Chiu hooked an arm around Darren's stiff shoulders. The warm embrace got Darren all soft. He melted over Autumn and their heads bumped together. The two were as close as could be. He's my friend, and 12. 2 years older than us. Autumn probably put up a peace sign that probably just meant 2. Remember that road right out from the cul-de-sac? Darren lives there. His house is the yellow one with the dark brown fence. We're almost neighbors. That's how we know each other. Yeah, the big hill, I know that. You passed a lot of homes on your way to school. You guessed people had to live in them, but you'd always figured you would meet a person before seeing where they lived. It was kind of weird thinking you'd gone by this place before you'd ever know who Miss Darren Murray was. She tilted his face so he was nose to nose with the boy down the street. That's what I've got to tell you. These are my new neighbors. Both of them? I thought only one kid was coming. Poor boy was more confused than ever. Tamarack could shock people even when she didn't try to. Chiu came to the rescue. His arm slid over Darren's shoulders to pat him soothingly on the back instead. Both of them. Autumn used his other hands to nudge a finger towards the girl of many surprises. That one is Miss Tamarack Bauman. Granny is her actual grandma. She lives in the gray house now. It was easy for Chiu to explain what happened now. If Darren had been there yesterday, he could have seen Chiu's flurry when he found out Tamarack was there. Is that what you had to do to sound smart? Act like you always knew something to people who couldn't tell the difference? Maybe it was just a Chiu thing. It did work for him. Darren listened to his friend's wisdom, amazed. In that, like a tiny showman in front of an audience with one person in it, Chiu uncurled his fingers and held his open palm out towards you. It is Mr. Tay Holton. He's a boy. Bro, what am I getting? Okay. He's the one who moved into that empty middle house with his mom. We all met yesterday. In the real world, Darren had to look down to see Chiu. It was a plain fact. He had to look down on every kid in your grade. But in the shine of his dipped eyes, you could be tricked into thinking Darren was looking up at Autumn. That was how much older boy admired the younger one. The light went away when Darren glanced over the two people Chiu had introduced. All that was there then was uncomfortable skepticism. I gave a wave. Darren put on a mellow smile. It fit really well. You thought maybe that was how Darren normally was when you knew him and weren't a stranger. Hi. Tamarack flapped a hand fast in a wave. It beat like the buzzing wings of a bee. She kept being like that around Darren, but you didn't think it was on purpose. Hi, Darren. His face squished. The awkward way Darren was with her still didn't get Tamarack to back off or even slow down. She had enough thoughts that she needed to be said. You're both wearing orange shirts. Tamarack stopped her fluttering by clasping her hands together over this important revelation. Darren curled his fingers too, gripping tight around the earmuffs he was holding. She hadn't said it teasingly, not even the silly kind of teasing Chiu did, but he was bothered by it for some reason. Yeah, we both like orange. For her answer in a very serious one. The whole time Darren hadn't said one word in response to Tamarack until now. Not when she asked about his mom and said hi. Talking about the same colored clothes, though, couldn't be ignored. Uh-huh, orange is good. One of the top colors. Chiyu cut into whatever was going on, nodding wisely. But do you know what my favorite color is? How would I know that? Because I think it's pretty obvious. Black. For the second time, he gestured over at you, but not just any part of you. Oh, me, because I'm black, right? No, I'm kidding. Autumn pointed towards your eyes. It's golden. Ooh, that's the best color there is. Okay. That's a valid color. You got gold eyes. You didn't care that much and weren't paying a lot of attention. Why would you say it like that? It was awful. It was cooler and cute color. You had gold eyes. Chiyu liked your eyes. Chiyu liked your eyes. Oh. My favorite color are purple, pink, red, yellow, and orange. That's a lot of favorites. It's probably about half the colors there are, but alright. Wait, and also, every color Tay likes is my favorite color too. Pfft. Kimura had good opinions on color. We'll keep that one. She wanted to share favorites with you. I can believe it. So speed, Peter Timrack shouting, Darren's response was with a peep. He still didn't want to talk to her, but misunderstandings about color ranking could be made either. Red is my favorite color. Orange is still cool. At that point, everybody had talked about colors they liked except you. I've got a favorite color too. I've got favorite colors. I have favorite colors too. You can only pick one. I got a favorite color too. Yeah? What is it? Oh man, I love this nice range. I'm gonna say blue though. Yeah, me too. Blue? My house is blue. Well, the house is red, but on the side there's a ton of blue. You should see it sometime for sure. Chiyu nodded to himself, agreeing with his own conclusion. Alright. Chiyu took his trusty notebook out of his pocket. A pencil name came with it. He flicked the page open and began to scribble right where the middle of the room during the conversation with people. Why are you doing that? School is over. Writing down your favorite colors. I want to remember that. The question was answered and was confused. Stuff down. Class was happening. Okay. A yelp cut off her own planned reaction. Confused by normal things and confusing to normal people. That was Tamarack. You're using your other hand. Oh, he's ambidextrous. The left one. Yep, that's my good hand. Wow. Oh yeah. I told her. I guess she didn't see it. Tamarack ran out of the words to blurt out, and Darren didn't want to do anything on his own, and not with you either. It had to be Chiyu. So the three of you waited there as a scratchy sound of Chiyu's writing went on. The more letters Chiyu added to his notebook, the more his friend shifted uncomfortably. Hey, Autumn. You're coming to my house today, right? Oh, I see how this is. Yeah, I am. That was the third quick and direct answer Chiyu gave while busy with this task. It had a big impact on Darren. He smiled, relieved. The promise made up for all the stuff Darren had enjoyed since he walked into the classroom, and had two new people become a little part of his life. Making a long dash across the paper, probably to underline something, Chiyu finished off his note to himself on his reply to Darren. Now that Tay and Tamarack are here, I've got to make sure they get to the neighborhood, but I can do that and go to your house. The roaring brown book and pencil were tucked in Chiyu's pocket. He didn't watch what he was doing. You did, and this time no papers fell out. It's not just going to be me and Darren, you know. One more is coming, too. We've got plans. It's been worked out for weeks that we'd get together after the first day of school. For a kid, Chiyu sure made himself busy all the time. Because of that, Darren, can you go get the guy? He's going to be standing around outside, knowing where to go. You can bring him right into the room. Oh, okay. This nigga just got a posse. Darren sunk his neck deeper into the tall collar that surrounded it, trying not to be called on in class after it was already too late. I don't wanna. His voice had gotten even more raspy when he spoke then. Every bit of Darren protested this idea. Oh, come on, you're the fastest out of everybody. Chew, on the other hand, was bold and brave. He sincerely sung Darren's praises to encourage his friend, then more quietly added a verse of his own success. With running away, on bikes, I'm the best. Did you know? I've got a mountain bike. It has silver paint splatters, and the tires have these big threads. It's so fast you'd be amazed. Besides, we can't both go. Tamarack and Tay are here. Do you want to stay with them by yourself while I get them? Oh, that's going to change his mind. Darren's eyes closed, and he grimaced. If he was looking, he wouldn't have been able to stop himself from glancing at Tamarack. You could tell since that's where his not-seeing face turned. And he didn't want to do that either. If he couldn't even handle seeing her too closely, staying alone with Tamarack didn't seem achievable for Darren. She knew it. I'll go. He placed the earmuffs back on his head as if he was donning armor before a battle, resigned but resolute. Cool, see you. Yeah, bye. Bye. As Darren sprinted through the door, you doubt he'd be following the no running in the hall rule. Miss Murray was still reading over her teacher stuff, so she didn't put a stop to it, but Darren should have followed them even if no one was watching. Tamarack's focus was set on the action. When that was over, and even Darren's bright white vest couldn't be seen, she snapped her gaze towards Gio. She was eager, ready to learn more about the boy whose name hadn't been said yet, in school, and friends, and everything. Tamarack wanted answers. Hey, that's good. Let me just stretch real quick. Oh my god, my back. Oh, my back. Alright, we got 30 more minutes. When you be done having to meet more people? Yeah, I was nervous. She began to tell you about his friend, even though no one asked anything about him. Tamarack's face had been enough to get Chiu going on it. This kid you're gonna meet isn't like the other kids. He's mature. Mature rolled out off of Chiu's tongue slowly, importantly, and with a fake accent. You didn't know what kind, but when he thought a little longer, Chiu much more quickly added some more details. And, not mature actually, about some stuff. Not everybody's like him, but I do, and you might too. Oh, not everybody likes him. Not everybody is like him. Guess what? He doesn't go to our school, or Darren's school. He goes to a totally different one that costs money, because it's for rich people. How did he get in the class? What accent she had been doing? A wealthy person accent like the one from those movies with millionaires. What? We're asking about the food. Does he have to wear a uniform? No, but they have a strict dress code. He's got to wear a button-collared shirt and stuff. Ew! Neither Chi or Tamarack were sure what to say next. You're the same. The three of you glanced from one face to the other. Expressions flitted between encouraging smiles and curious peering, until eventually the door was flung open. Darren hadn't stopped to check if it was okay at that time. He had a job to do, and it had been a job well done. Darren wasn't alone. Whoa, look at this dude's beanie. Shorter, though. Their entrance was a funny scene. Behind Darren's striking colors and intense steps was a new boy. The stranger came along unconcerned, dressed in muted tones. His hair color almost could have been called black, though dark gray was probably more right. He had black pants that didn't match perfectly with the shade of his head. But there was something about him that made a strong impression. Tamarack, Chio, and Darren, too, had lots of energy that radiated out all around them. This boy didn't have spirit in his hands or legs or body. His fire was concentrated all in his dark brown eyes. Whatever he looked at came against total force of his being. It made him unignorable. That part of him was so noticeable that it took you a minute to see he had a birthmark on his neck, and that his smile was actually a smirk. Oh, I guess, yeah, you could bring him in. That does make sense, actually. A lot of times people... I feel they burned something? I don't know what's going on out there. A lot of times people would say your imagination is scarier than whatever the real life thing you're worrying about is. This wasn't true this time. Seeing who Chiyu's other friend actually was made you 1,000 times more nervous than just the thought of another stranger. All your thinking was cut off by a shout from Autumn. Along with that, he punched a fist into the air to welcome his returning champion and the found prince. Yeah, you made it! Darren and the boy he brought had given the impression of opposites when they first came in. What they had in common became clear when they smiled the very same way at the reunion. They both liked the other one of them, and they both liked Chiyo. That's all that mattered. The two went straight to Chiyo. Damn, okay, we got a little squad here now. I say that, but literally it's going to be just these three. The two went straight to Chiyo's side, Darren on his left and the other on his right. The formation of the trio was perfectly smooth. All of them were already aware of where they stood in the group. So, this is my friend. He's cool, as long as you tell him when he's being dumb. Boy had been the most collected person you'd seen in town. Besides your teacher and Chiyo just called him dumb as soon as he got there. That was kind of incredible. Bro, they are burning something in my house right now. I can smell it. I don't know what they're cooking, but it is like smelling terrible. But Chiyo didn't mean it in any mean way, and the new arrival hadn't even blinked when Chiyo said it. They were friends, and the insult expressed as much affection as the hug Chiyo and Darren shared earlier. Hello, it's nice to meet you. My name is Baxter. Baxter greeted you and Tamara casually. It was effortless for him to say polite words, though they didn't come with a lot of meaning behind them. Darren was 12, and he was tall. Taller than all his friends, but you could have believed he wasn't that old until Chiyo said so. Nobody needed to tell you Baxter was older than you. No one had to tell you, but you still knew. More than any kid, Baxter reminded you of teenagers. Ones who thought they were smarter than not only anyone younger, but adults too. They had that kind of unquestioned confidence. Even the way he stood there looked more grown up than everyone else. That's right. Chiyo put his snooty voice again and did a curtsy to show his mock respect to whoever the boy was that he was about to introduce. He is Mr. Baxter Ward, the oldest one out of all of us. You knew it. Meanwhile, Chiyo dropped the accent because he wasn't talking about Baxter anymore. And this is Mr. Tate Holton and Miss Tamarack Bauman. I mean, let's be honest, bro. What's his name already doesn't even like Tamarack, so like, who am I to not like Baxter? You know what I'm saying? Chiyo did still smile at you, and that helped a little. You're pretty positive Baxter didn't even notice you hadn't returned his hello. That's how little he cared about his introduction, how his introduction was taken. Hi. Tamarack's normal bubbliness popped right after she said hello. Are you actually rich? She said it doubtfully with her hand on her hips and her face tilted intently. Oh gosh. It added more to her wondering than what she actually said. What would a rich person be doing there? Shouldn't he be doing something else? Something kids like you and her weren't doing? I'm trying to imagine what other things might be. Maybe sitting at the head of a table longer than his whole room, or dancing in a shining ballroom wider than your house. Darren's face twisted in the center and tightened around the edges. He wanted to laugh, and he wanted to stop himself from doing just that. Yes. Baxter said he was a rich kid as plainly as if you'd ask if it was Monday, or if he had a hat on his head. He can prove it too. Baxter lives in a huge mansion mansion high on the mountain. He does? He does. Suddenly the table and ballroom of your fancy felt a little more real. Having the huge mansion come up without him needing to say so curved Baxter's smile more than it already has. He didn't have to brag. His house spoke for itself, or rather the house got Autumn to speak for it, and that was the best brag of them all. If I like the two of you, maybe you'll get to visit. No, I'll maybe get to visit your amazing mansion. If I like you? Chiu's words had shot up in pitch and rang with humor. He threw his hands out in disbelief and had to be careful not to hit one of the multiple people hanging out around him. Baxter, you showed it to anyone who will come by. Chiu knocked Baxter's arm with his elbow, but that was on purpose. A friendly nudge to go along with the rest of his lighthearted jabbing. His smile beaming at Baxter, his eyes dancing over towards you and Tamarack. Chiu declared in his stuffiest voice a reply that was to Chiu a more accurate picture. Please come see my big, cool house. Why would I even have it if no one was going to see it and think it's big and cool? That's him. Autumn needed a pause to steady himself before he finished what he was talking about. But it is a really cool house. I would show it off if it was mine. Chiu had to be honest about his friend and himself when it was flattering and when it wasn't, and ended up showing generosity. Baxter said nothing, and he didn't laugh. He just giggled and chuckled along the rest of his swoopy bangs. The strands curved with the motion, then slipped right back into their normal resting spots. His smirk didn't drop out of place either. With so much not being different, it was easy to tell that his cheeks turned pinker. Chiu had sort of made fun of Baxter, even if it was a joke. If Baxter was going to blush, you would have thought he was embarrassed because of the teasing. But no matter how you looked at it, nothing about the older kid's expression was shy or uncomfortable. He was as calm as ever, maybe even a little happier than before it happened. Anyway, Baxter's introduction was over. Chiu had decided it. Now that everybody's here, I've got something very important to say. Though he said everybody, Chiu's attention was squarely on you and Tamarack. There was a pause for dramatic effect as Chiu smiled knowingly. Tay and Tamarack, I hereby invite you to join our club. Oh yeah, you're not gonna like that shit. What? Darren shouted out like Chiu just announced he was getting married next week at 10 years old. Not so loud, please. The gentle scolding was way more startling than Darren's yelp. You'd forgotten Miss Murray was still at her desk. She was so quiet and so much like a teacher, she fit in naturally with the classroom as the whiteboard globe. Things that were there should be there, but you didn't like that. Wow, you got a reminder Baxter had never even known. Oh, hello, Miss Murray. Nice to see you, Baxter. Darren zipped his lips. He had to settle for silently pinching his brows and pouting. Chiu, who was definitely the leader of the pack, wasn't going to let his word on this decision be questioned. He folded his arms in disapproval. First his mom, then his friend. Darren wasn't having the best moment. Autumn couldn't stay firm for long, though. Instead, he thought of his club and smiled. Me, Baxter, and Darren are a group. We go all around having fun. We're practically famous in this town. Yeah, me, you, and Baxter do. Quietly, firmly, not yelling, Darren pointed out the members again as if it meant something. Tay is one thing, but wow, you're just going straight home. See, now I gotta play defense. Normally I wouldn't. Darren's glance flickered to Tamarack for a single second. If Tamarack's not going, I ain't going either. She's a girl. So it didn't mean something to him. After this whole time with Darren acting so weird with Tamarack, you heard why. He was a boy who didn't play with girls. It's a boys' club. Darren gestured around the semicircle of kids to bring attention to the boyness of the collection. How can we be a boys' club if we're not all boys? He whined in a whisper. Even if you and Tamarack and Baxter were right there, Darren was trying to keep the conversation between him and Chiu alone. Unfortunately, it was Autumn he was talking to, and Chiu made extra efforts to include the two of you. He freely giggled at the problem he'd been presented. Darren, your mom's a teacher, and guess what? Chiu gave a lidded look over his shoulders towards his possible new group mates. His dad? He's also a teacher at a different school. Really? With a slow shake of the head, Chiu smugly chided his friend. You don't even know problem solving. Listen, okay? So I'm a boy and it's my club. That means it's a boys' club. What's the issue with that? You didn't get an answer, though. Chiu didn't expect to. Darren could only gawk as if he'd witnessed a magic trick. Chiu had taken a black heart card from Darren into his fingerless glove's hand, and when he revealed it again, it had transformed to a red king. What the freak? You know magic? You wondered if Chiyu was a sorcerer all along, and he only said you were one to cover for himself. He had a way with words and with people. Tamarack being new there wasn't what gave Chiyu an advantage. He was like that no matter what. Baxter chuckled, a pleased audience member of the event, and then he shrugged with his hands in his pocket. I don't mind if they tag along, as long as they can keep up. Great! Baxter's agreement was given directly, and Chiyu took Darren's acceptance of his idea and a sure thing, even if he hadn't exactly gotten there yet. He expected you and Tamarack to see it too and put the choice in your hands. That was the only question. So, what do you think? No thanks, I don't want to. Yeah, I would too. I'm not gonna lie, they clearly don't want her there. For all of Chiyu's feats of conversation wizardry, it was equally amazing how simply Tamarack could defeat them, simply by not talking, taking an interest, and saying no. It was actually the second time Chiyu invited her to play with him and his friends. Yesterday she had said maybe, today she said no. Darren suddenly frowned more. He never wanted her, but was offended she didn't want him too. Baxter only smirked harder. He already had friends. Being turned away by a stranger didn't make a difference. Chiyu was disappointed by Tamarack not considering it, and by his friends' unwelcoming attitudes. No one seemed to care like he cared, even when he tried his best to get everyone to get along. Expression was unhappy enough for Tamarack to realize with shock the impact she had. Thanks for inviting me. I like you, Chiyu. I'm not sure I like those other kids. Two bewildered snorts and one laugh followed the attempt at comfort. Baxter was the one who laughed. She's not joining, then I'm not joining. Why would anybody join? Darren is a jerk. Now I don't want to get in bad grace with my teacher if I say this. You nodded your head at Chiyu's invitation. You shook your head and offered. Just felt wrong. You want to be in Chiyu's club, but didn't. But how could you say that when Tamarack didn't? You know what? I'm gonna stick beside her. If she's not joining, then I'm not joining. To dismissals, it was a total failure. Chiyu still smiled. He could find some sad humor in how badly it all went down. Nobody has to join, but you'll probably regret it for the rest of your life. If you don't, it's the coolest club there is. And Tamarack, don't listen to Darren. I'm sorry he said that about you being a girl in our group and that being bad. Darren's gaze fell guilty, and he didn't finish whatever he was going to say. He may not have wanted Tamarack to join, but Chiyu did. Being the reason it didn't work out was an intentional betrayal of his friendship. Darren does know how to talk to girls. Does not know how to talk to girls or how to act around them. I think the only ladies he can say 10 words to are his mom and Tamarack's granny. Chiyu? Autumn tossed his hands up completely unapologetically. You thought of a phrase you heard your Charlene use before. Don't shoot the messenger. I don't know. That's what I noticed. Doesn't matter anyways. You can't live your life like this. You're a big kid, Darren. What if Tamarack looks up to you because you're so much older and wiser? Are you not even going to be able to say hi to her? I said hi, didn't I? You said hi to Tay, not to Tamarack. She greeted you. But she was too close, I know. How about you say hello right now? It's not too late. Yeah. Tamarack was instantly in for that. She glanced upwards into Darren's eyes, grinning expectantly and swishing her shoulders side to side. Say hi. It was hard to tell if she didn't realize she was giving Darren a hard time, that it was more to him than a normal hello, or if it was the whole plan. But either way, Darren could do nothing except stare at Tamarack's smooth jig. Chiyu, this is embarrassing. Where did the other dude go? Where did he go? Yeah, it is. For you. You can't treat girls like that just because they're girls. Darren groaned through clenched teeth. Chiyu, Darren, and Tamarack, not one of them were budging, until a low voice came from the area around Darren. It wasn't actually him, it was behind him. Hello. I think your scarf is so nice, Tamarack. Not Darren. Also, those are such great glasses, Tay. What? Darren couldn't stay quiet for long. His mom had given up on reminding him. I hope you like my earmuffs, too. Darren sprung around in a flurry. but the perpetrator had already breezed back to QUI's other side. Baxter stood there, so satisfied and silent like he had been the whole conversation. He may not have seen it with his own eyes, but Darren knew it was Baxter. He had a pretty distinct voice, and it wasn't as if anyone else could have done it. It was a pleasing answer to Tamarack's ears. No matter who said it, she giggled as she toyed with her nice scarf. "Do you really think that?" Girl Darren turned away uncomfortable, and with a face pinker than the accessory in question. "You really think you really like my glasses?" you asked earnestly. Because yeah, tease. The main part of his face that you could still see were his eyes, which had gotten huge and from defiant to shy. "I didn't say that." "So it's not true?" "I didn't say that either." "You guys." Chiyu had lost hold of the situation. He viewed it from the outside the same as he might have done while watching toddlers tumble around the playground. I don't think it's a sad game or a scary game. I think it's like a wholesome game. This is only the demo though, so we'll see when the real game comes out. "You know, I don't invite just anybody to the group." That reminder was meant for Darren. He sent an explanation your and Tamarack's way next. "Before it was me and Darren since we were babies, and then a couple years ago there was Baxter. It's been only the three of us since then until right now." "Yeah, it has been. So why do they have to be part of the club?" "It's good you asked. Tay broke into my back." Okay, relax. "Accidentally, yeah, because he was on a crazy investigation about a paper airplane. And he got here a day ago, and he's already looking out for me. Normally I'm the one doing that. And Tamarack was the one who made a paper airplane for a stranger, because it would be fun. What's not to like about that? Lastly, the three of us are all neighbors. That's got to count for something. Even if it doesn't, what were you thinking we'd do? Run away from them when we and you and Baxter are in the cul-de-sac? Try to make Tamarack and Tay leave their own street?" This is, what is it, Our Story? Is that what we're calling it? I think it's Our Story. No, we should be friends and hang out together. It makes no sense not to let them join the club." Chiyu's debate speech roused Tamarack. Her fists were clenched and her expression was full of vigor, but you were sure she wasn't inspired to join Chiyu's club. It strengthened your bond as neighbors, only made her flimsy connection to Darren and Baxter more obvious. Darren's wordlessly put extra space between him and the shaking girl. Baxter smiled at Chiyu, supporting his friend, while being told indifferent to the results of the others. When it came to yourself, Chiyu's description of why he thought you should be a member. I mean, made you smirk. You could appreciate that kind of praising, and it was all true. Yeah, it has a very nice, wholesome, warm art style. Chiyu had the sense of his audience mixed reactions. Instead of full house roaring with applause, it was more like seeing a mostly empty theater with one person clapping in the back row. He worked with it. "Well, they haven't been here long, and I know them better than you two guys know them. And the same goes for Tay and Tamarack. They know me better than either of you. It's different for me. I like all four of you. People can join later, and neither of you have to be an official member to do stuff with us." Oh, I just hit the wrong button. There we go. Just letting you know what's up. All things bothered Darren, and he showed it. Baxter so far took everything like it was nothing. She went up, and he went down, but always tried to get back up at the end. That was the boys' club. Chiyu was still Chiyu, and that Darren kid was okay. Also, Baxter was kind of mysterious. That was cool. Kind of mysterious, I'll say that. Even though you didn't want to be in it yourself, the club had been a lot of fun to meet, and you'd get to see them around probably a lot. Tap tap sound marked the end of the meeting. It made you think of a hammer hitting a podium in very important official gatherings. It was actually Miss Murray as the strained papers against her desk. Your teacher placed them down in a neat pile, and she rose to her feet. "It's time to go, everyone. I'm leaving, and I can't let you stay here alone. Not giving anyone here a ride? Liz was scared on Chiyu and Baxter with that question. Or would you like me to call your families? It was you and Tamarack who got a look with that one. The first kid ready with an answer was Tamarack. She yelled out without no hesitation. I'm okay. After falling off Tamarack, though, definitely not talking to her, piped Darren. He and his friends already had plans, but sheepishly looked at his mom for permission to go through with it. Chiyu and Baxter can come with us, can't they? Right off, she nodded, and her son smiled relaxed. Miss Murray held up one finger, and added, "No, for anyone to get ahead of themselves. They can stay all night. I'll need to take both of them home before dinner." All right. Thank you for letting us visit. Yeah, thanks. What about you, Tay? Well, since the three of them are going, I'm walking home with Tamarack. Can I do that? I'm assuming she's walking home, right? I'm fine. That's good. Tay, come to my house. Yeah! We're gonna see old people. Pumped her arms like the dark blue carpet was water underfoot, and she needed to roll through the underpass. We can walk back together. On your own? No, together. And you can meet Omi and Opa when we get there. I really should ask my mother, but I'm gonna say okay. Thank you. Alright. Well, how about we finish packing now? On it. At your teacher's suggestion, gathering outdoor clothes, checking the inside and under desk, and looking through bags to see if the most important possessions were still there. All done. Not a single glove would be missing or one pencil out of place if Miss Murray could help it. During the final sweep of the room, there was an eager knock on the door. Who's this? Miss Murray took long strides reaching the door, far sooner than any of her students could. When it was open, you saw your mom, framed by dozens of colored papers, leaves, tapes around the frame. It was a huge relief. You could go to her and get out of the school. I'm going to assume that you are Miss Murray. Yes, but Shannon is fine, and you're Miss Holton. Right as well. I'm Opal. Tay is my son. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for coming to pick up Tay. I pushed her away from the words and the going over there. You know each other. You didn't care about that. You said in a boring way too long adults. She snickered softly with a small Jove with the shoulder, about some love in his back, and got Darren to smile. It was following you in a conversation the teacher dropped. Tay, I made it. And hello again, Chio. Hi, Charlene. Mother. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna save here. Alright, let's get into it, y'all. Let's go and hit the good old continue. Well, first off, hello everybody. Welcome back to our life, now and forever. When we last left off, I believe we finished up our first day of school, which is pretty cool. We've got our two homies here, Tamarack and Chiyu, also known as Autumn. Autumn had a little gang of friends. I forgot their names already, I'm not gonna lie. It was like one rich kid and one kid who's like the teacher's son. And they wanted to go out after school and hang out and stuff. But they didn't want to invite Tamarack because she was a girl and it's an all-boys group or whatever. And me being the cool homie that I am, decided that I wasn't going to join the group because Tamarack wasn't going to join. So, we parted ways, I think. But we're going to go and see what happens right now. It's been a while since I last played, so let's go and continue. Oh yes, our mother's here to take us. Hello, Mother. Hi. That's how I had Chiyu's voice. She strolled further into the room. Oh, wait, let me make sure it sounds right. Okay, cool, we're good. She strolled further into the room to join you. Miss Murray stayed by the door. Who's the rest of this fun bunch? Charlene asked wonderingly, glancing across the faces of the three other kids still there. Class was long over, and you were too closely gathered for it to be random people who happened to be in the same place. Why you'd all come together was of great interest to your Charlene. Two of those people were Chiyu's friends. One was your seatmate, and your neighbor, and your friend. And it was her, as usual, who first shot out a reply. Tamarack never took long to think about what she'd say. Actually, I forgot that they technically didn't meet my mother yet. That's why she was always so far ahead of everyone with words. You're Tay's mom? Wow! You look like his mom. Thank you. Some bits of me did end up in there. Tamarack, you yelled fiercely. Say it like that. You're so totally proud to be like you, Charlene. You didn't know why Tamarack cared. It wasn't a big deal. We don't look that much alike. Playful smile tugged at your mother's mouth. Tamarack felt inspired to have more curiosity satisfied. Do you look more like your dad? Tay is like him in certain ways. Her smile dropped, but Charlene had a reply for that question ready before you had even fully heard it. But our family is me and him. It's always has been. He won't come by to visit. Oh gosh. She was telling Tamarack the truth. Tamarack wasn't going to see him. You hadn't even met him. Oh, Jesus. You had been told stuff about him when you were younger. Charlene said what his race and nationality were, and hers too, so that's why you could know your own history. You were... Ooh. Interracial identity. White, black, Asian. You were Floridian and had click to enter your nationality. What can we really say for this one? What's your favorite nationality in any game, bro? That's what I'm probably going to base it on. I'm American. I hail from America. I'm Chinese. I hate from China. Tieflish? I could say I'm like a tiefling. You know what? We'll just say Jamaican. Why not? And had Jamaican heritage. Why not? At that same time, your mom explained how having you in the first place worked. She didn't have a husband or boyfriend or anything, but she wanted a kid, so she had you. She talked about how you didn't need an entire other person to have a baby. Only took a small part. She was able to go get that from a special hospital. It's kind of confusing, but you were able to understand that whoever your dad was, he wasn't your parent. He was a guy Charlene didn't know, and you didn't know. Like that it was just the two of you. You were happy with the life you got, but did hope you could see him someday. It's probably not in his shoes. I think you never have a dad, and you were mad at him for having kids, not caring. Like that for years. Yeah, we'll say this one. You'd find having only your mom if you just knew a little about your dad too. Oh, okay. Sorry. Frowning, Tamarack pinched and pulled at the frayed edge of her sweater sleeve. One finger slipped through a tiny hole in the cuff. I was going to rip even more doing that. That might be why it was torn in the first place. It's fine. You didn't know. Now you do. There's a lot of not knowing for her and you, but you did recognize the tone your Charlene was using on Tamarack. A low voice with an extra emphasized bend on the words. It meant, I'm not mad this time because it won't happen again. Isn't that right? Oh, gosh. Tamarack gave a tiny nod, stretching the striped sleeve all the way past the tips of her fingers on her free hand. The conversation had been dominated by Tamarack, but still hanging around was the boys' club. They could hear everything said about your family. Try to figure out their reaction. Chi was still, besides shifting a narrow gaze between the friends on his left and the one on his right. Suddenly he seemed like the teacher of the classroom, keeping a stern eye on the students for any sign of trouble. The two of them were on their best behavior, quiet and blank-faced. When Chi realized you were watching, he became regular, old Autumn again, grinning wide. Well, it's good to meet you, Tamarack. That dropped Tamarack's jaw. She was certain she hadn't said her name yet. You knew me? Not for sure, but I thought you looked like you'd be our neighbor, Tamarack. Now bashful, Tamarack hid her face with her hands. The sweater was finally released from her squeezing grip. While she wasn't looking, Charlene gave you a sneaky wink. You told her enough about yesterday for her to figure it out. What about everyone else? The question was kind of forced. There was still an awkward feeling left behind after Tamarack bringing up your dad that you never met. But that was something they were going to figure out sooner or later. So after all, it was kind of good it got settled with everyone at once. And Baxter took the initiative, properly introducing himself. My name is Baxter. I don't go to school. I attend Jartwood Academy. You do? That's quite impressive. Thank you. You were starting to think he couldn't feel uncomfortable even if he wanted to. He was a cool cucumber so much he got stuck that way, like if you made a weird face for too long. Except, you were pretty sure adults were lying when they said that could happen. You got the conversation to change, though. Charlene was more at ease and gave a purposeful look at the other kid who hadn't spoken yet. And you are? I'm Darren. That's my mom. Darren couldn't meet her eyes. Instead, he stared at his shoes and limply lifted an arm towards the door. Miss Murray was leaning against the wall there. Her arms were patiently folded. Charlene shifted her gaze between the group of students and the teacher with a big smile. As a mom, she likes seeing other parents with their kids. It was fun for her, you guess. It's nice to meet you too, Darren. His cheeks puffed out frog-like. It was so fast and unexpected, Charlene laughed. She usually did not like laughing at other people's kids or other adults, not unless they were telling a joke. She laughed at everyone's jokes, even ones that weren't funny. Okay, is she a hype woman? Your mom pressed her palm against her cheeks and breathed it through her nose to steady herself. You've barely been here 2 days and I already needed almost a full hand to count all of the acquaintances you have. You work fast. Technically, 2 of those people aren't my friends. You actually skipped my homie. So, Mom, show respect real quick. She tilted a grin your way, raising one brow higher. Are you ready to go? You forgot Chiyu. Wait. Oh, no. I think Chiyu actually introduced themselves first. And then we started getting this whole interaction when we started up this stream. I forgot. My bad. Me and Tamarack were wondering if she could come with us. Certainly. I'd be happy to bring her back. Charlene stayed put despite that agreement. She was unsure not about you or Tamarack, but the 3 other kids who were left. Also, Miss Murray got off her perch and came to stand by her son. I'm driving Darren, Chiyu, and Baxter to my house. I'll call the boys' parents, let them know. Seems like you've all arranged... What? Everything. You got your bags already, too. We should really be going then. Have a good day, boys. The parting smile and a gesture of her hand to follow, Charlene turned and walked away. I'm not this petty. Wave. I waved. She and Baxter said bye as the 3 of you were leaving. All of them waved, though. Darren's movement was way stiffer than the other guys. Bye, Chiyu. Bye, Darren. Bye, Baxter. Bye, teacher. Bye, everybody. Bye, class. Bye. She shouted over her shoulder while sticking close to you and Charlene. And after that yell, Tamarack whispered just to you. Sorry again. You don't have to feel bad. She held the door open for you and Tamarack to trot by, then she followed you out. Your first day of school was over. You took the same exact path out as you had come in, just going the opposite way, down the stairs, through the checkered hall, and out the big double doors at the front. But when you were outside, the way home changed. You had to go through the almost empty parking lot at the side of the school building. Charlie brought the car to come get you. Wispy clouds hung over your group of 3. Nobody else was out. They'd already gone home, or probably teachers who were still in the classroom. Tamarack ran freely across the tarmac. Press tarmac. It was easy to figure out which car to go to when nobody else was parked anywhere close by. You sprinted to catch up with her and stayed by her side. It didn't take long for Charlene to rejoin you. She broke it into a jog after both the kids raced ahead of her. Once she unlocked it, Charlene opened the back side door. You were too little to sit in the front, according to her. That meant Tamarack would be too small, too. You were taller than her. But you found out that Tamarack didn't want to sit there. She liked the middle. It was funny how round and weird it was. She also liked being able to see up to the front easily. We both buckled in and Charlene got into the driver's seat. Tamarack told you about how she'd poke her Omi and Opa from that spot all the time. Even though neither of them were in that car, she was happy to choose the middle anyways. I do like window seats. All you wanted was in the front. She was crazy for like such a bad spot. We're still kind of making fun of her. She was crazy for liking such a bad spot. After Charlene double-checked that everyone had the seatbelts on, she pulled out of the school lot. You jiggled in the firm cushion because of all the vibrations of the car. The seatbelt wasn't just good for crashes, it also could stop you from slipping out of your seat on the bumpy road. It was quiet, besides the humming sound that also came from the way the car moved. The world looked different from the backseat of a car. A blur of golds, browns, and reds fitted out of the corner of your eye. From what you could see ahead, there was an endless stream of blue coming at you. And then it all slowed down. You could see individual trees and each of their branches, and the leaves that hadn't fallen, and the sky seemed more solid. Your neighborhood was already in reach. It had been a whole journey in the morning, walking with you and Tamarack. That trip only took a few minutes driving with Charlene and Tamarack again. Charlene parked at the end of the road right in front of your house. There wasn't a garage to use, but it didn't really matter if you parked on the street. You couldn't block the path if you didn't go anywhere else.